Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. Hi, Finny. Call me Finn. And we've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
I got some candy.
Are those black balloons? Oh, fudge! I'm sorry I asked. Oh my gosh. Guys, today we're reviewing this movie, a little known movie called The Black Phone. This movie stars Cole Davis. Did you not think that Mason Thames looks so much like Cole?
Yes, I was literally going to ask you that. Oh my gosh.
I was like, Cole, this is you.
You beat me to it.
He looks just like you. Yeah, he looks just like him. It also stars Michael Jackson. Dude, freaking Ethan Hawke, when he's at the beginning, I think he put makeup on his face because he looked really pale and white out in the sun. I think he was definitely put something on his face because he was wearing the mask most of the movie. But when he was out kidnapping people as the grabber, he definitely had like some white on his face because he looked just like Michael Jackson with the thin, long,
well, and he sounded like him too.
Do you want to see a magic trick? Yeah, he was menacing, man. Holy crap. Guys, this movie came out in 2022. Why does it say 2021? Came out this year, didn't it? Maybe it got released again because on IMDb it says 2021. It is in theaters right now. Go watch it. So I thought it was 2020. Maybe it got like a re-release.
Maybe that's when it was originally planned to be released before COVID or whatever.
Good point. Oh, it was great. I texted Jordan after I watched this in the theater. I was like, I'm done with like big Hollywood movies. I'm just going to be watching indie films from now on.
Are you saying that because you just finished
Kenobi, the greatest? I cannot believe they spent $4 billion acquiring that franchise just to run it off of the freaking bridge, dude. They just derailed that stuff, man. Oh, it's so bad. But laughably bad. Like, the 5th episode was surprisingly good. I watched all 6 episodes. And, yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Kenobi.
You probably heard both
really upset.
Jared and Red Letter Media saying, yeah, it's just like, it's so...
No, they were like, Red Letter Media blew my mind. They were like, we like it. But then, have you watched their Picard review?
Yeah.
They are so sick and tired of Star Trek.
Their bar has been set so low.
They have been brainwashed into thinking that Star Wars is marginally better than this show. So they're like, yeah, it's actually really good compared to what they did to Picard. And I don't know because I didn't grow up watching Star Trek. So I'm sure they're probably right in the fact that Star Trek Picard sounds like they've derailed it even further than they have with Star Wars. Because even with this, it feels like Disney is carrying around a drool cup. Like whatever we can do to make sure that the fans are at peace. But then they like literally turn around and they're like, well, you're all racist if you don't like this stuff. And you're like, why are you even making it then? Like, you're getting like all upset when they criticize your work. And it's like, it doesn't have to be really thought-provoking. This is a silly space epic about people with lightsaber swords and lasers for guns.
Well,
like,
and the people that do it right
folks
are the guys who do Better Call Saul and El Camino.
Yes.
Like,
dude, I told you, when I heard about Ben Kenobi, I was like, all I want is a Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, an emotional back and forth between the two of them. Even if they force Skype.
Well, but they did that at the end. There was that emotional
They did. Yeah. But even that, I heard, was knocked off of the Rebels, or it's not Rebels. It was either Rebels, the movie, or it was the TV show Clone Wars. They actually did this scene with Osaka, whatever her name is. She, like, cuts Vader's masks, and he's, like, between Darth Vader's voice and himself. That's a really good thing, but they took it from a cartoon. So don't even give them credit. I have lost all they're bankrupt. They're completely out of ideas is my point. So anyway, because I love Kamal Nanjiani's character, like a fake Jedi. Like, that was a really clever character. Didn't do anything with him. Princess Leia was an annoying kid. They didn't do anything with her. You know, like all the things they had going for it, they just crapped on them. Then they just crapped them out. They're like, here you go. Here's a steaming hot pile of dung. Anyway, we're back on Black Phone because this movie gave me hope for like indie films. Like, I'm like, Neon and A24 and Blumhouse Film need to keep real movies alive because I like small casted movies. I like good performances, and holy crap, was Ethan Hawke bone chilling in the theater. First time I watched this movie in the theater, I cried out. I gasped. I yelped. I called for help. I got so scared. This jump scare I was not anticipating. I literally called out. And
when the girl's riding her bike and sees the spirits in the road, that got me so bad. I almost like...
That one got me a little bit.
Oh, really?
I'm talking about the first time he picks up the black phone. No, or maybe it's the second time he picks up the black phone. And the child freaking appears right there, dude. It fetching gets me so
I saw that in the trailer, so it didn't get me.
Oh, no. See, I had no idea because it was the first time they introduced use this. This movie's very akin to like The Sixth Sense meets Split. You know, that's the movie that this is. Even though I know those are both from M. Night Shyamalan, and this is directed by a nobody. No, I'm kidding. It's directed by Scott Derrickson. But this movie made me think of the movie Split with the kidnapping, and then it obviously made me think of Sixth Sense with like the spirit ghost thing. So, which makes sense because he's done like exorcism films. He's done the Sinister film. He also directed.
Oh, he did
the
Sinister.
first
Okay,
Doctor
that makes
Strange.
a lot of sense.
Because Ethan Hawke, he had done work with Ethan Hawke, and then he also did the first Doctor Strange, which I thought was pretty good. I enjoyed the first Doctor Strange. Hindsight, it is a remake of Iron Man, but who cares? Everything is.
Well,
now
I got a
these
little
days.
bit of an It vibe, like the kids and the scene where they're throwing rocks at each other. Totally reminded me of the scene from It when the kids are throwing rocks across the river at each
Why
other.
do they get good child actresses? Like that girl in this, holy crap, Madeline McGraw. Hat off to you, girl.
She was
an
great.
amazing child actor. I was
Wow.
like, she should act. Have her be all the children actors. Like, if you have a child in a movie, she's your
That's
kid
the quote
actor.
I should have
She's
done when
amazing.
she was like, I don't believe in you, God. And then all of a sudden she's like praying afterwards. She's like, I'm sorry I said I didn't believe in
I'm
you.
sorry, I didn't believe in you. I'm sorry.
Just help me find my brother and all.
Let me find my brother and I'll pray every day. I'll be a good girl. Oh, man. I was going to quote like, oh, they're just dreams. Stop hitting me. But I was like, that's not a very lighthearted quote. So, dude, Jordan, what was it like watching this movie for the first time for you, man?
I was having a horrible day, and then I saw that, and I walked out feeling amazing. So
Hey, thanks, movie. Just turned my day around.
I know that's the kind of experience I want. I want to go into a movie theater and just like come out happy, and not not coming out of like a franchise movie that I'm just like, I feel like I wish I could never get that time back, you know?
Yes. Or like nostalgia. It's like they're like ruining something you like. It's like being made fun of for something that you liked as a kid. That's what it feels like right now.
Well, Ty, I just saw that they announced Hocus Pocus 2, Willow
I saw that.
2.
It's Willow TV show. I guess they bought everything with George Lucas. They're like, hey, let's buy Star Wars for $4 billion. He's like, okay, and then can I sell you Willow? Oh, no, we're getting that for free. We're going to get all the rights to your stuff. $4 billion, my goodness, dude. Wow.
Well, and just listening to like, what's this, not Screen Rant, are they the people that do the pitch meetings?
Yeah.
Just them talking
It's one of
about
their channels, yeah.
Morbius, and then them shooing in stuff into the trailer that didn't even make the movie just to get people to go to the theaters, like stuff that like Spider-Man poster, and just like they're trying to milk Marvel as hard as possible. It's insane.
Dude, all of the fans, and me included, our nipples are raw. So please stop the milking. We are not happy with the milking that's happening, dude. Jeez,
They're just
my
hooking you
goodness.
up to a machine.
They have it streamlined now, just like against my will. Please stop. Oh my gosh, dude. So watched it in the theater, but you saw the trailer, so you had it spoiled. See, I did not watch the trailer. I watched until I knew that I wanted to watch it, which I got like 2 seconds of the trailer, and they're like, this movie has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's kind of funny because it doesn't anymore, but like, I guess at one point they did have 100%, and they're like, hurry, make this trailer, and when we release it, we can at least claim that we at least
They have like
100%
one or
at
two
point.
reviews. Quick, throw 100%
It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. But anyway, that made me laugh a little bit but in the end, like I got it was Ethan Hawke as like the villain, and I was like, oh yeah, sign me up. Because
I was really worried
again.
you know, like the Northman. I was worried. I was like, oh no, am I only going to see Ethan Hawke? But after seeing his performance, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is a freak.
He still got it. That's the crazy thing about Ethan Hawke. I think he's kind of like a you're surprised. He'll surprise you.
Yes.
Right? He never ceases to amaze. Because I actually thought he was like a one keynote actor. Thinking of Days of Gattaca, he was just kind of the straightforward man, everyday man, kind of like a Luke Wilson, if you will.
Yes.
Like everything else happens around him, and he's the everyday man. But I'm like, no, I watched him in Moon Knight, and I feel like he was wasted in Moon Knight, but he was still the best part of Moon Knight, along with Oscar Isaac, which I love. But even that show was kind of like, I'm so done. I can't do this Disney Star Wars or Disney superheroes anymore because it's all bleh. But then I watched him do a movie like this, and I'm like, Ethan Hawke is just waiting in the wings, guys. Use him.
I can't believe you still been sitting through like the Disney stuff. Like I gave
I
up.
watched all of them.
I gave up.
I watched all of them.
I stopped after
Because I like to be
Captain
angry.
Falcon or whatever it was called, The Winter Soldier.
You mean you have to do better, Senator? See, I
Yes.
keep watching it for those
I was
moments because
done.
they're so loud. I cannot wait for She-Hulk. I am so excited for She-Hulk. That's gonna be just mind-numbingly. I'm gonna need a bowls to scoop up my brains oozing out of my ears at the end of every episode.
I'm
Oh
so
my
done.
gosh,
I
cream
will
pudding.
only watch him if it's by a director like Taika Waititi. I will see the new Thor because I love Taika.
Dude, I'm warning you. I'm hopeful for Thor, but it can't.
I love Sam Raimi's version
It
of
cannot be good.
I
mean, yeah, those movies are fine, but I liked Black Phone more than I liked the multiverse.
Oh, of course. I mean, obviously,
yeah.
I'm just saying I'll only go if I like a certain director.
Yes.
At
Like
least-
it will not be the worst.
Yeah.
It won't be chewing broken glass.
Well, and I already know with Disney, it's going to be a watered down version of that director's
Yes.
work. But at least I still get to see them make something. So
yes, this movie, Black Phone, made me feel very much like, oh, this was Ethan Hawke's wanting to do movie because like he was forced into Moon Knight or whatever. And
well,
then
no,
he's like,
I don't know.
"But this
Even
is what
I'd
I
say
really wanna
forced.
do."
It's just where he can make money, and then he comes
Right.
back. A lot
And
of the
then,
people
yes,
these
and gets
days
to
they
do-
just play the game. They make
Yeah.
one for Hollywood.
One for me, one for you.
Yes.
Exactly.
And a lot of people are playing that game these days, like Guy Ritchie. Like, look at him, Aladdin, and then he gets to make The Gentleman and Wrath of Man. And then
Yeah, right. Or you could be like Martin Scorsese and get to make Silence, which was a snooze fest. It's a good movie. Total snooze fest. I mean, guy was freaking directing The Departed, for Pete's sake. I don't want to
Departed.
hear The Departed, which is so dang exciting. And you're like, could you get the same editor and tell Silence with the editor from The Departed? It's like out of order.
Dude, I mean,
Like
that's why I've just
Tarantino.
been watching like mostly old stuff that I know is good. I haven't been risking as much lately because I just like don't want to
Yes.
put in the time. But it's like,
Which is why I wanted to ask you. So Black Phone, when did you decide to go see it? You saw the trailer and you're like, because you were having a bad day, you're like, oh, I guess I'll just go see a movie today. It was the only thing that looked interesting, or how did that
no,
happen?
well, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, ooh, that looks interesting, and
Yeah.
so that's why I went to go see it. And I just like that era. There's something about the It era.
70s, 80s,
Yeah, just that. Oh my gosh, I love that era, especially because I've gotten into Miami Vice right now, and I'm obsessed with it. Oh my gosh, it's just like totally reminds me of Dad. Just that big poofy hair and
You're nostalgic for a time long by. Ugh, I
Yes.
can't speak. A time long gone by. So let's get into this movie real quick. It came out, like I said, it says 2021. It's in theaters right now, so I don't know how that is. Maybe it got re-released or something. We should look into that. The plot synopsis says, after being abducted by a child killer and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving calls on a disconnected phone from the killer's previous victims. Interesting.
Yeah.
So as I said, it stars Mason Thames, who looks so much like Cole Davis. If you're listening, Cole, you could still be an actor. They can get a kid that looks like you. Just kidding. You're a handsome guy, Cole. I'm just like teasing you.
he does have a Weird Al hairdo right now, though. I love it.
Yeah, crazy, poofy, long. So does this actor.
And it's
at
like
least
curly, yeah.
from his photo. Yeah. Madeline McGraw, Ethan Hawke, and Jeremy Davies, E. Roger Mitchell, and Troy Rusedale, and James Ransone. James, this is the funny one. So James, who plays Max, the coked out brother, Ethan Hawke's coked out brother. I really liked him. I couldn't think of what I'd seen him in. He was in It. He was the kid that was obsessed with the diseases.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it was him, and that's why I got vibes from It, because he was also used in his movies Sinister and everything. So again, this director is very much using all the actors he's very familiar with and comfortable with. But anyway, I couldn't think of why I was
Did you
thinking
like
of It
Sinister
so much.
Time? I enjoyed it the second time. First time I didn't care for it, but I liked
Yeah,
it.
I haven't seen that in years. I should go
Oh.
rewatch that one, but I liked it. I watched that like right after I watched VHS, and I can't tell the difference between the two. But I know one of them has Ethan Hawke, and one has like a bunch of VHS tapes, which it sounds like I should be able to distinguish them, but like both of them involve like watching old film
Yeah.
footage of like disturbing things. So, but yeah, they're like I watched that and Wreck. Like I watched all that like found footage, just grungy horror movies. I watched all of them in the same weekend in college. So I do want to go back and watch Sinister though. That's something I haven't seen in a long time. I always forget about that one though because it's kind of a lesser known horror film franchise. So, but yeah, I think it's fine. It's
Is
not
it
my
considered
favorite.
a franchise if it only has 2 films?
That's a good question. I did say franchise. It almost. Are you sure it's not a universe at this point? Like,
Yeah.
do they not have a Sinister universe? Like they've done it with James Wan's Conjuring. You know.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure they'll do it.
They
with Sinister.
cannot let that series
Well, give
go.
Ethan Hawke a little time. Like I'm sure he could come back and I don't remember what happens. Does he die in the end of the Sinister? I think he
I mean,
does. doesn't
he Ethan Hawke's done. If he does, does more sinister movies. He also started the Purge franchise. Holy crap.
Purge. That's another example of Ethan Hawke. See, when I watched that, there was nothing special about that movie, but maybe that's just the director not utilizing Ethan Hawke, kind of like the Moon Knight. Like,
well,
Ethan
he was
Hawke,
the best
man,
part of that movie. I did not.
Yes, but like, see, like when I watch Robert Eggers is his Northman using Ethan Hawke, like he was a really good actor. Like I was blown away by his performance. Like I was like, oh, like, and in hindsight, I probably think about Naomi Watts, or not Naomi Watts. I always confuse them. What's the other blonde? What's her freaking name? Nicole Kidman.
She does look like Naomi Watts.
They kind of do look similar, but Naomi Watts is way cooler than Nicole Kidman. But Nicole Kidman, no offense, Nicole Kidman. Actually, many offense intended. She's just not. She does stick out like a sore thumb. Where you had like Skarsgård, and Ethan Hawke, they blended very well. And like William Dafoe, like he belongs in Robert Eggers movies from here on out. Like he doesn't belong anywhere else. He belongs as Green Goblin or in these awesome Robert Eggers type films. And I'm like, go back with Ethan. I want Ethan Hawke to stay in a dark universe. Because he was so menacing in this movie. And if he wasn't menacing, I don't know how this movie works. Like, he was so terrifying. So unbelievably scary.
Loved when he would, like, switch mouths to, like... And when he
has this mask. Yeah, he has this double mask. One with a top and a bottom, and he'd switch him out. And it kind of made me think of The Thing. You know how, like, he always changes his form? It kind of made me think that way. Because every time he'd be wearing a different mask, and you're like, what is this mask mean?
I was thinking
like,
more Split, when it was, like, it would almost show a new personality. Like, because he's like, you don't want to trust this personality. When he'd have the frowny face,
tell me
you're like
your
in
name.
trouble.
They always print your name in the paper. He says his name and he throws the paper. I was just about to let you go, but you can't be honest with me. I was like, oh no.
He's playing so many games with that poor kid.
He is. I know, dude. Poor little kid. Finney. Kind
of reminds me of Disturbia a little bit too. It's just gonna get that.
Yeah. The home kidnap vibe is like a whole genre of movies that I absolutely love.
Yes.
Like the small indie claustrophobic. Like Room had this, just this claustrophobic movie where it's so captivating because they try to escape, they try everything, and they're just so helpless. But I love the dynamic between the characters, and you're just rooting that he'll get out. I love the premonitions from Gwen. It felt very Stephen King like, where she was having visions, and also Sixth Sense in a way, but like seeing the dead victims. And then having premonitions of Finney running to the door, banging on it, praying, begging to get out of the house was so terrifying. So I was so relieved when he found out the lock and the combination, the bike lock on the door. But it's just unreal. So anyway, why don't we hit two of our favorite things from this movie? Jordan, why don't you start us off, man?
The era that they're living in, it's fun to go back and just kind of live in a time. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood probably did it best, but I just love when you feel like you're living in the same time they are, when it's like there's not a time before cell phones. It's nice.
and I don't think it's necessarily just a gimmick, so now we can make a horror movie without cell phones, because you could still do this movie where he's kidnapped and he takes his cell phone and breaks it,
It just makes it seems not harder for, it's just a different type. I mean, because kidnappings happened so much back in the day. Like, we listen to so many true crime. Dude. That's true.
No, I know what you're saying, though. Yeah, like with GPS tracking and locators on all your apps, it has made the world safer. Like, it is harder to get away with crime these days because unless you live off the grid, you don't have a cell phone.
Well, and it's also, I guess it's made people, the villains or whatever, more smarter, I guess.
Yeah.
Or had to get more creative. I don't know.
Right. Or, again, just if you don't own any of these things and you get rid of someone's device, there's no way to follow where they are. But again, yeah, you have like cameras everywhere. But again, at this time frame, this guy was just kidnapping children all over the town. And it was like, oh, the Black Balloon Man. These are things that they were privy to, but they couldn't find the victims, but they just had missing children. And that very much felt like it. Like anytime there's missing kids, it made me think of Stephen King is fascinated by this. He did it with It. He also did it again with a book called Institute, which I'm sure they'll make into a movie or a series. It was really well done, but children go missing all the time, and he tries to address
Institute,
that.
Is that the one you're currently reading right now?
No. Oh. I was reading Billy Summers, which is actually really good. It's less horror. It's just a hired assassin that does this one job that kills this guy, and then I'm not going to spoil what happens, but it's exciting because like half of the movie or the book is him getting up to the assassination and then what follows after. So it's pretty cool. Like, it's kind of fun because you see, it actually reminds me of the show Barry. That's actually what it's like.
Oh.
Just like the show Barry. So it's a good book, and I'm sure they'll adapt it because they're out of ideas, so they're going to rely on writers to come up with new source material, and they can make it into a movie. So keep an eye out for it, because The Outsider was really good. The Outsider was great. Jason
I've had a hard
Bateman.
time getting into season 3 of Barry. Season 1 and 2 were so fun.
Yeah. I dropped off the show after season 1. I have yet to watch season 2.
I,
But I do want to watch season 2, and then, like you said, it's already dying out after
I don't know.
3.
Maybe
I'm
I just had to give it another shot. It's just because I'm watching so many other things. I'm just like, I need it to be
got
really
Atlanta,
good.
Better Call Saul. I got so many good shows out right now, man. But I'm sad because I watched them all. And
Well, True Detective
Better Call
Ty.
Saul-
Oh,
I know. I actually want to watch that now. Wow,
Woody Harrelson.
mention
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Matthew McConaughey. All
McConaughey.
right. I'm excited to see that. So I would say my 2 favorite things are the way this was shot. I really liked the they kept showing like not found footage. What's that called? Home video type footage, very shaky handheld video recorder footage, which I really liked because it put me back into that time. But it all, it's kind of nostalgic, but it was also just really good at giving you this unnerving, settling feeling that you find out that these images, they're not just to help you understand the character better. These are visions that Gwen is having of all the victims that Ethan Hawke has kidnapped, the grabber has kidnapped and killed beforehand. So I thought that was really interesting. I really, really like that. And then, the black balloons again, just a very interesting motif where it was just like a very eerie character. Like, do you want to see a magic trick? He comes out of his car spilling his groceries and he gets, Finney to stop, like right in his tracks. And he's like, do you want to see a magic trick? And when he catches onto the balloons, that freaked me out. Like, I thought there would be any moment of suspense. He just instantly grabs him, uses the balloons kind of as like a way to disorient the children. And then he like gasses them with drugs, throws them in his van. It's just so horrifying. Like, this
that's
show
what he did in
pulls
Split
no
too,
punches.
wasn't it? He sprayed the thing on there.
Yeah. But even Split was like, I almost feel like not willing to go there because he does get in the car and he puts on the mask and sprays her. But like this one, he's like struggling to get away and he's like holding him, strangling him, spraying him in the face, and then throws him in the back of his van. It's definitely grittier than Split. For sure. This movie is like much more grisly than Split. But
Well, I mean, you're talking the difference between rated R and PG-13, so.
Yeah, exactly. This is the rated R Split. Like I said, this movie reminds me so much of Split. But it was just so awesome. Like the most terrifying thing, I like the parallels between the actual drunk father who had a wife that killed herself. We're led to assume, because that's what the father says. Jeremy Davies' character, who is from Lost. What does he say in Lost that we used to quote all the time? He was always like, "Oh, we're stuck on the island." He's always that weird guy. Jeremy Davies, the drunk father. Did you recognize him? He was one of the guys on the island. He was one of the guys on the boat that shows up with the other crew, and he's playing mind games with everyone on the island.
I can't remember.
You don't remember him?
I don't.
Dude, look up Jeremy Davies.
I recognized him, and I'm like, what have I seen him in?
He's from Lost. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what his line was, because I used to say it all the time. It was so funny. It's not the Charlie line. We're like, guys, where are we? But it was one like that. He's always like, time doesn't work the same here on the island. It's like so bad. Anyway, bless his heart. Because he's playing the most despicable role in this character. He's like beating Gwen with a belt, like whipping her because she won't go on and on about her dreams.
That's the thing, though. Back in the day, though, that was like...
Back in the day, it was just common practice.
Kids got the belt all the time. Like
they got the whipping. But see, what I thought was interesting is when Finney gets kidnapped, his father is an abuser with the belt. Ethan Hawke's character waits at the top of the stairs waiting for the victims to leave the basement, and then he would kill them with his belt. And I thought that was interesting, the fact that they were both using this same article of clothing. And I couldn't help but see the motive at the similarity, or at least like a metaphor speaking through. It reminded me so much of Split, because you had Anya Taylor-Joy's character who was kidnapped by James McAvoy, and she's like tormented by this guy, but in the end she's like, no more. And then when she gets into the police car, you find out that a man, her uncle, was a predator on her. She was like, enough is enough. You get the sense that she's now out of that situation, and the abuse is going to stop. The buck stops here, which is what I got at the end when you get the father. Terrence like falls down. The actor is like, I'm so sorry, because he gets Finney back, and Finney and Gwen just kind of sit there in the back of the ambulance, and I'm like, I'm hoping like this was a way of saying the abuse is done. Like, you are not going to hit us anymore. Like, I'm not going to stand for it. Finney literally kills the grabber. I mean, he breaks the guy's ankle, strangles him to death with a fetching phone, and then he gets the voices of all the people that he killed before. They're like, now this is the end of your pathetic existence. It's time's up. Like, it feels so gratifying when they fetching kill him. He strangles him to death, and he's hearing the voices of all the ghosts that he's, his victims in the past. Which was really cool because, again, all the ghosts said what they said before to Finney, but it means a different thing at the very end because they repeat their last message to Ethan Hawke's character, which was so good because, again, all of them have different meanings now because he's like, this is me, you're going to do this, you're going to win this, Finney, you're going to fight him for me, and you're going to take down that stupid the grabber. It was just so well done. I loved that. That was great callback, and it was great. Like I said, the ghost very much like Sixth Sense, where they're like, oh, you think they're there to harm him, or there's something wrong in this basement. They're just crazy voices. They're all the innocent victims crying out, speaking to Finney, trying to help him escape the room. And I loved how each one of them was like, this is what I did, and it didn't work.
Yes.
And so I loved that, because it was all the things that you would think to do to escape. And I liked how he was being educated by all these ghosts, telling them, like, this is what we did, but what's the use? And Finney gets so discouraged because he's like, you guys all tried everything. Like, I'm nothing special. I'm not a fighter. And that was what was so cool about the character that gets kidnapped before he does. Robin's character, he was the cool fighter kid, you know, the punching up on the bully. He was like, you're the fighter. If you couldn't even fight the grabber, like, what chance do I have? And he's like, you need to do this. Like, I just like that connection that they had. I thought that was really cool. So, dude, load up the phone with dirt, pack it and jam it in there. Take a step forward, take a step back, and swing! Smash him in the face. Felt so gratifying, dude. Kid was smart. He set up a whole trap. He got the trap string, and then he tripped into the hole and broke it. I thought that was amazing. I was like, that was brilliant.
Yeah, that was
he
great.
leaps over into the corner in the bathroom. It was great, too, when he was flushing all the dirt down the toilet. I was like, this kid thought of everything. Like, all the things that I was thinking of, they literally did everything. So I thought that was really well done. So, yeah, and then they even mentioned, there was once where I was like, well, stack the carpets up. But he's like, he even mentioned it in the movie. He's like, I tried that. Yes, I tried stacking the carpets up, you know. So that was the one thing I didn't see him try, but he said he tried it. I'm like, okay, you get a pass. You get a pass. But, yeah, the window had bars on it and everything. And it's like, as soon as he climbs up it, you know, the bars come out and you're like, he's still trapped in there. Like, you can't get out. It's so terrifying. And what the worst part is the grabber would leave the door unlocked. He'd sit at the top of the stairs, shirtless, waiting there with his belt to beat the victims to death if they decided to leave. That was so terrifying. And so, like, he hears the victims, they're like, don't leave. Like, he's playing a game, like, it's called, like, Bad Boy or whatever it was, right? It's like, if you misbehave, he's going to beat you to death with the belt. And again, I thought that was very interesting that they chose the belt from the grabber as well as from the father. I think there was obviously a connection there. This is like maybe a movie about a director that was beaten when he was a child or something, or maybe his father was, and he's like coming to terms with it. And so he kills the serial killer that also used a belt to murder his victims. And the father was like, no more, you're not using the belt anymore. I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
It was
Maybe
so
there's
refreshing to me too to see people praying, like, and just in a time.
Swearing at Jesus.
Well, no, but like in a time where
Jesus, what the heck?
But just because you don't see that in film almost ever, you know. I mean, and I just loved the way the kids talked. And
Whoa,
stuff.
Jordan, if you watch movies by Kirk Cameron, you'll see plenty more. The Christian.
I'm just
films.
always bummed when it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
they're avoiding all that stuff. They're just
No. They won't avoid it unless they're it's like the Carrie movie, right? If they're like the crazy Bible thumping
That's true.
Christian, they're the bigoted evil people.
Yes.
So there's plenty of that. But it was refreshing to see Gwen like having clairvoyance and talking to a higher power.
And when
Like,
she was
it's very
questioning her
refreshing,
faith too, like that's fine. And then she,
Yeah,
you know,
very refreshing.
Yeah.
Excellent. So anyway, I just gotta say, Ethan Hawke, sitting there at the top of the stairs with the belt in his hand, falling asleep, you know, and the kids like
when he
sneaking
gets
around.
the codes and he's like, but where's the gaps? And he's like, I don't remember. And it's like, are you kidding me?
He has to try all the combinations. 2, 3, 3, 1, 7. Or so it's like, so is that 23, 3, 17? There's that 2, 23, 1, 7. Like, what is the combo? And he's like, I don't remember. All the ghosts were like very vague on what they remembered, and so I thought that was great.
Yeah,
so
it was great.
It just left like a lot of ambiguity, and it kind of heightened the tension. You're like, what's gonna happen? He's playing a game with you. Oh, so creepy.
Yeah, great movie. I recommend it.
Hey, I already have you locked in my basement. Why would I need to drug you for? He's just so creepy. Dude, Ethan Hawke, man. The grabber, the devil mask. Oh, it's so creepy. And then he loses his mask too, and he's like, ah! Made me think of like Smeagol or something. It was freaking great. So yeah, definitely recommend The Black Phone. You guys all got to go see it. It's a crazy movie. Well shot, well done, well executed. So, whoo, enough gushing, all right? Now we got to get into other shows that we like so much, you know? Jordan, what have you been watching lately? What have you been seeing? What are you looking forward to seeing?
I've kind of already mentioned it. Miami
True
Vice.
Detective?
True
I'm
Detective.
excited to watch that now.
Yeah,
I
and
do want to watch
I'd
it.
love to review all of them eventually. So there's too many movies. I don't know.
Too many.
It's too much.
Just not enough time in a day, dude. I wish it could be like Clock Stoppers, you know? You just freeze time
Yeah.
and we could watch all the movies in a vacuum somewhere.
Yeah.
Of course, I think you actually age. That's the problem with Clock Stoppers. Remember that movie? He like actually ages
Yeah.
physically. I think they were reverse it though. But anyway, but they reverse his physical age. But anyway, I'm very confused. We should review Clockstopper someday.
No.
I remember the Blink-182 All Night Long song coming on, or All the Small Things coming on. That's freaking hilarious.
What about you?
So I watched a really cool Korean film, South Korean. It was a South Korean film called The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil. Check this one out, Jordan. Did you watch this one yet?
Not yet.
Oh, dude, it is. I saw the Devil. It's not as grisly as I Saw the Devil. There's no movie that's as grisly as that. But it had beats that were similar to it. Basically, the whole premise was just a gangster and a cop, a corrupted cop, like a dirty cop, are both racing to find the serial killer. And they're both using all their resources. So the mob has all his cronies and everything. The cop has like the fingerprinting and all that stuff, and they're both racing to find the serial killer, and it's pretty awesome. And it's personal for the gangster, and the gangster is our boy from freaking Train to Busan, big buff guy with the magazines taped to his arms, dude. Freaking just smashing the faces of the zombies, dude.
Use the other word.
I said that. I did not mean that. I always excuse me. I've been watching The Boys season 3. I haven't finished it. I got to like episode 4, maybe 5.
Thoughts?
It's good. I actually really like it. I think that I'm almost worrying that they're like running, like they're going to have to approach an idea where they're like, are we going to have to finish Homelander or not? And it's freaking me out a little bit. I got to the end of the episode where basically...
Well, it's a comic book. You know that, right? Like they're not writing this. It's already written.
Well, I haven't read the comics, so I don't know. But in the end, like, I imagine there's a certain time where a character, you milk his character. It's pardon the pun.
I'm just nervous because I've been told a lot from the comics, from this guy who's read it at work. And it's just making me a little nervous because they're changing a lot. And so I'm just worried that the changes will kind of back them into a corner where they're like, oh crap, like because we kind of diverted too far. Just kind of like The Walking Dead, whereas like they kind of made some changes that I was like, okay, like these are way worse.
Yeah, exactly. And then the homages that they'd still pay to the comic and the source material, it's not well done because it's with different characters for different motivations, and it's not done as well as the graphic novel. So
yeah.
So I haven't seen any of The Boys, but I'm still to this day looking more forward to like a second season of Invincible than I am to another season of The Boys.
Oh my gosh, Invincible.
Which still has yet to be announced. But yeah, like I think about the Invincible all the time. And it was funny, someone made like a fan made thing online. It was a fight between Homelander and Omni-Man. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, you should. I'll send it to you. But it's really violent, obviously. But they do all the things that they do in the show. But it's the two of them fighting, and it's pretty entertaining. So I'll definitely send it. And it has like the same animation that you would see in Invincible, which I thought was really cool. But it's fun to see Homelander in that world fighting against the Omni-Man. It was really fun. So I'll send that to you. And but anyway, other than that, yeah, I just definitely recommend The Gangster, the Cop, and the Devil. Excellent South Korean film. I honestly think that we would like to review it on the pod.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, add it to the list of the millions of movies you want
for sure. But it was just a thrill ride. I don't know how much longer it's going to be on Prime, so definitely check it out.
Wait, what's on Prime?
The Gangster, the Cop, and the Devil.
I own it.
The Gangster, the Cop, and the Devil?
I own it.
Well, you didn't even know the movie, or I thought you didn't know the movie.
No, I did. Oh. I said I bought it, and I was excited to see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It only came out in 2019, so it's relatively new. And I started watching The Cure, and I didn't finish it, but I was surprised at how old it was. It was like only a 94 film.
Yeah.
1994, and it feels so old. It felt like a 70s movie.
No, that one was a hard one to get through, but by the end, it is totally worth it. Like, I was I kept falling asleep, and I'm like, I can't stay awake.
Right. I had the same thing. I fell asleep. I watched the first 5-7 minutes.
But a lot of my favorite films put me to sleep, so I'm serious.
So anyway, let's end this episode, guys. We're going to say thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Futro Hidden Movie Gems. This has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, Spotify. Check us on Patreon. Check us out on Instagram. We have really funny, Jordan does highlight videos of like the best 1-minute segments or all the clips of our show. And it's been great. Everybody, you've been great. Check it out. Leave us a 5-star review. Peace.
Bye.
Futuro Hidden Movie Gem signing out. Bye. Black balloons. Oh my gosh.